We'd like to start out by thanking our valuable sponsors. Sense of Satisfaction by Cricket is the place for all your fragrance needs. Plus, she's got products to heal what ails your skin and your hair. Shop at scentsbycricket.com. Special thanks to our valued sponsor, John Travis, a financial coach and certified Kingdom advisor with Richard Young Associates, a registered investment advisor. Thanks goes to Anna Patterson, my sister in the Lord who faithfully gives to this ministry every month. And to our newest sponsor, LaToya Gerard of Preach the Word Worldwide Network. She is a valued sponsor and a major encourager regarding this ministry. We need and would love to have you as a sponsor. Absolutely no gift is too small. Please note the info regarding giving throughout and at the end of the show, and help us spread these testimonies around the world. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the viewpoints of our sponsors. It's time to hear the story, make the connection, learn the lesson, and gain the wisdom. Are you ready? Let's get charged and be changed. The Sister Speak Brother Break Show. Conversations on grace, healing, and deliverance. This is Marcy Bush. Come on, let's journey together. So let me ask you, when you think back on your younger years, are there any things that you can remember, even like in school, that kind of any defining moments, anything? I always say what the things that we remember told us something about us or about God or about people, or I just feel like the memories speak to you, whether they're positive or negative. Are there any things that you remember about those earlier years?
I always wanted to help somebody. And I remember my daddy, if say, for example, one of my friends didn't have a car, I had a car, and they didn't have a way to school, I wanted to go and pick them up. Or if I had my job and my friends needed money for their little lunch or whatever, I always wanted to help somebody. And daddy was like, you can't just keep doing all that. You can't keep going to pick out these kids up. You can't be doing all that. And I just like, but why? Like, I always wanted to help somebody. And that even got to a point where I had to sneak and help my friends. Like, I started lying to my parents because I wanted to go and pick my friends up, and I wasn't even doing anything wrong.
Right.
But like, I lived in Jackson, I would be like, I'm gonna go here, but pick my friends up, or I would give them some lunch money, or I remember even when I got in my early 20s, we all, were living and having apartments and different things. My friend needed help with her light bill, and I paid it, but I didn't want to tell anybody just because I felt like, what you doing paying that stuff, or they're gonna start taking advantage of you. But I just wanted to always help people, and how that equates to my life after really having an encounter with Jesus. That's of the Spirit. That's who we are as Christians, as Christ. We're out, and that comes to don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, and how it goes. But that became where it's like, I don't have to be ashamed of helping somebody, or just being there for somebody, or giving, or providing for something, and not worrying about being taken advantage of.
Right.
Because I know this is the will of my Father, my of God, my spiritual Father. This is what He has for me, is to give freely.
Right.
It's when I understood the concept of tithing. And then, like, when people found out the amount that I was tithing, I wasn't just giving $10 or $15, that I was actually tithing.
Right.
What you doing all that for? What if the church went off with your money? I can't worry about that, because this is who God is to be.
Yes.
This is what I do. Or even, which there has to be boundaries with that, because that can be dangerous if you're a people pleaser.
That's where I was gonna go. I was gonna ask you, did you find that there was a time when you ended up having to check your motives?
Yeah.
Because like even when you were talking about the little girl, and then you end up having to lie to the parents it feels like as people who like who want to be helpers,
Hmm.
sometimes you have to say, okay, now why do I want to help? What
Right.
is this? Because sometimes it's, I know there came a time in my life when I get that little high and you don't even realize it. But
Hmm.
it's not, it's pure. You think it's pure, but it's, you want to see somebody else happy, but it's a people pleasing aspect as
Right.
well. And it is that whole kind of needing to feel needed.
Hmm.
You have to check it to make
Yeah.
sure it's
That's
God, to make sure it's the
right.
right thing, because you can actually cripple somebody
You
by
can get you somebody or get duped or be. And what I learned, that's why I said you have to have those boundaries because sometimes it's the answer no, and that just have discernment. And that's one area I had to grow in with, just in my walk is like, okay, God, is this the best yes right now?
yes. Oh, that's good. Is this the best? Yes, I like
Is
that.
this should I be doing this? Because and I feel like too with that, we all know that the devil doesn't come up with new tricks. He just watches you so he knows who you're destined to be, and he can play that and manipulate that. And that's why it's like, okay, well, she is a giver, she's helpful, but she's also a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I taint this or get taken? And there was times I was taken advantage of just by not at this time not even knowing who God was. You know,
Right.
been having a relationship with Christ. Yes, I got taken advantage of. There was times when I was like, dang, daddy was right, just all kind of stuff. Um, so it was you definitely have to grow in that area. And I do feel like an easy example, my daughter, JC, she's 8 years old. Her
Mm-hmm.
name means happy. And
Mm.
do you know the devil tries to trip her with just sadness all the time, like what her natural purpose that God created her for, he attacks that.
Yes.
And I have to constantly remind her, like, well, JC, no, you're not at 8 years old. I see it. You're not,
Yeah.
no, let's fight this depression and just showing her how to fight those things with scripture, showing her how to fight those things with, worship music at 8 years old. Well, she just turned 8, so 7 years old,
Right.
that attack on her character to
Yeah.
make her feel like, to where she would just be sad for no reason and crying for no reason. And, people were worried and like, well, JC just seemed down. And I'm just not even who you are.
Right.
You're
Right.
never little things happy,
Mm-hmm.
like, and just as a baby, she's just so full of joy and just always loud and happy. Her voice sounds like a bell. It
Yeah.
literally sounds like a little bell. It's high pitched and people hear, oh, I love her voice. And so I'm like, this doggone devil finna try to attack
Right.
her, what she was created for. And so I
Right.
think that, the devil is not creative at all. And we just, if we're not careful, our very thing we was created to do can get tainted and we can be misled and just go down this path.
Yes. But it's so good that you can spot it and address it. And even more so that God got ahead of it and you named her what you named her. Because
Right. I didn't
coming
even know
your
what her
way.
name meant.
Say what?
I didn't even know what her name meant. Like it just, I was trying to keep them all with J's. I didn't find out what her name meant until like maybe she was like 1 or 2.
Okay. See, God is good. So like we said, it's the thing that you're anointed for. Just like you said, you are a helper. But he'll try to take it either. I heard my pastor say one time, if the devil can't push you, he'll pull you. And it's like one way or the other, the enemy's gonna try to keep us from being right in the center where God
Mhm.
puts us. So it's like I said, we have to get to checking our motives because You got to make sure you're not going this way. Because a lot of times I believe people think that the devil is at one end and God is at the other end. But I really believe that a lot of times the devil at both of the ends, because they're extremes. God works the middle. He wants us to work that middle. And like I said, not with, I ain't even talking about with like darkness and like with sin and whatever. I'm talking about just like I said, with a perfection or nothing at all, with
Right.
just, yeah, with extremes
I'm
of
doing this for
everything.
you to like me and to love me, or I'm just bitter now and I don't want to help anybody.
Because I feel so taken advantage of. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when you went off, I don't know about for you, but when I went off to college, girl, I found what I was made of. Like, I mean, I had my struggles, throughout school, but I really felt like I was grounded. Leaving Silver Bluff High School, I'm like, yeah, I'm a good girl. I'm straight. I'm grounded. I know who I am. My parents have taught me well. Of course, I had a little cussing demon that was with me. Oh, yeah, I used to cuss so bad. Even like in high school, that was my thing. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I wasn't doing all the
That's
other
it.
stuff. I wasn't but I was a cusser. And but I felt like that was kind of it. I know me, girl. College will test everything in you. So,
Will
uh,
it?
so what was your experience when you went off to college?
Oh my gosh, it was awful. Right? No, it was when I think back on it now, and I remember the day 18, fresh out of Daisy and Wayman's house. They dropped me off at Morris College in South Carolina, HBCU. I
Mm.
went with two people from home. So I'm not you know Erica Schultz. I went with her. We
Yeah.
were and another friend of ours, Juliet. We all went together. Juliet and our roommates and Erica right down the hall. So we went. We were like, we're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna. I don't know what we thought because nobody said anything about academics, or we just knew we was going. And
Right. It's time to leave.
what what um like you said, everything for me. So my dad is really particular about hair and clothes. Like that's his thing. Like your hair needs to be combed. Like this is my dad. He's serious. Um, your hair needs to be combed, not flying all over the place. And it was no low cut shirts. Like my shirts was like turtlenecks up all over here. Shorts is always fingertip. You're not wearing that. And I appreciate that. But it I was just doing it to please him.
Mhm.
So when he drove off that college campus, all my little hoochie mama clothes came out.
Okay.
and and I went through this trying to find myself in this culture, trying to fit in. Um, I turned into so many different things because again, I didn't know who I was at the start. So then I wanted to wear revealing clothes, and then I was like as big as a toothpick. So how tight could it be? So I wanted to be this person. I wanted to fit in. I wanted guys to like me. I wanted to be sexy and fashionable. Started meeting other people, from lower income and impoverished communities. So then I wanted to be hood. I wanted to talk like them. I wanted to be ghetto. I wanted to be all these different things that I was not, because
Mhm.
I was it was like I tried everything out. I wanted to be in this group. I wanted to be in that group. Or I wanted to be this. I wanted to be that. When I joined this, and there's nothing I don't have anything bad to say about sororities and fraternities, but when I joined the sorority, it was because that's what everybody was doing. And
Mhm.
I wanted to fit in that way. So I needed to be that. I needed to be this. I needed to be with this group. I needed to go over here with you. And that already took my identity crisis even in a different spiral,
Mhm.
because things that I wanted, and that caused me to get into a lot of trouble because I wanted to be um, loved, like, and everybody, like with my parents, everybody Daisy and Wayman. Everybody, I went to the movies with mama and everybody like, well, wait, Wayman. I said, I'm the fill in, because everybody, they see mom and daddy, and I wanted a college sweetheart. So I gave myself away for the promise that I would be their college sweetheart, and I was taken advantage of. And I kept giving my soul away and giving my body away, and just this sexually moral thing. And it spiraled and spiraled and spiraled to where, now with having daughters, my oldest, I teach them, I tell them these things. It's no taboo. I have to be transparent because I don't want this thing trying to take you out. Just even with my 11-year-old, just trends of how she wants to dress, and I'm like, look, we're people of God, and we dress with modesty, but that I didn't know that. I just knew my daddy said I couldn't wear, so I can't wear it around him. Right. I didn't know being modest or honoring my body, so I gave it away, and it just caused. I remember, I think I was in like a junior in college, and I had got a STD. And that was when they told me that there was no cure for. Praise God, I'm healed.
Yes.
In that dorm room, too embarrassed to tell my parents. I had health insurance, but too embarrassed to go. So I went to a free clinic, and I remember being in my dorm room, and everything was like darkness. I didn't know how, but I wanted to kill myself so bad because I was just so embarrassed. It was so much shame. I had this thing. I had this, and the guy that I so wanted to be my college sweetheart, and you see it on TV, they graduate, and that's what I wanted. So I was doing anything to be anybody for anyone.
Right.
And that was a dark time. And I remember mama actually found out, and she said, you got them things. And she was like, she was so like, there was no I'm sorry or I love you, and not to throw shade on my mama at all, because that hurt her. That broke her heart, and so after that, I was like, I think my junior year, I was taking summer courses. Things got worse, because I was just trying to find something to attach myself to. And now I know these were all spiritual things, but I ended up getting, so that next year, going back to Morris, I got expelled from Morris, with another guy, getting taken advantage of another guy. Should have known he ain't have no car. I'm over there doing kind of stuff, breaking all the rules and all kind of stuff. And what happened, he needed my car because he didn't have one, and he had a gun on him. And when we were going into the college campus because it was a Christian school, surprise, surprise, and it had a curfew. So I got arrested. And they searched him, and he had a gun on him. And the college, the dean of student affairs, she said, you brought somebody on this campus with a weapon. Anything could have happened. And I was expelled. And so the sorority sisters I had, they were getting ready for the step show. They didn't have time to deal with my problems. I remember packing up my stuff. I didn't even tell anybody. Nobody even knew I left. Just because I packed up my little car, my little white Mazda I had, and I went home.
Wow.
I went back to home, and it's okay if you can just imagine my grandma-in-law. I called her one day. She said, "What you doing home? You didn't got kicked out of that school?" No, ma'am, because I couldn't tell anybody that. You can't go home. You can't go back and tell anybody I was expelled from college, and you can't say that.
Right.
So you have to hide, because now you no longer are fitting the expectation. Erica graduated, Julia, they all graduated on time. So I can't go around and then say, well, I got expelled. Right. So I had to make up a lie. Oh, well, I'm just taking some time off. I'm gonna go back over the summer. It just spiraled. And that's the danger of when you go into the expectations of everybody else, and you don't know who you are.
Right.
It's one lie, it's one cover up after the other to try to fit this expectation. And then I found myself on the bunk bed in my old room. And mama was like, you're going to have to do something, because you can't sit up in here,
Right.
So,
Were you honest with them about why you were back home?
oh, the school called them.
Okay.
They already
Now that's surprising because in college, your business is your business.
I
And
was
my dad and them don't
they, when I got out of the jail, that was just so embarrassing. When I got out of the jail, um, my other friends, they had to bail me out. And when I got and met with the dean, she said, "Well, we've called your father." And I said, "Oh God."
who you call who?
Yeah,
Oh,
we spoke to my father. I said, "Why him, not my mama?" you
oh,
know, just because. And then that alone, that was devastating because now they see me this way. Their daughter, I'm trying to be the one in college. I'm trying to be. I'm in the sorority. I'm on the What was it? I was in the National Junior Society. I can't remember what it was. I was the captain of the cheerleading squad. I was the president of the sorority. I'm all these things. And now you told him I got arrested. You told him that was just like, I
right,
didn't, I didn't want them to know.
right.
That was my secret life. That was how, and
Yeah,
it's, something as I was 22 at that time. If you think about it, how else was I going to get, how far was I going to keep this lie up?
right.
But,
Wow.
no, we didn't tell anybody. When we got home, it just was she just gonna take some time off? Nobody knew. That was not something you don't tell anybody that, you
Right.
know?
And they didn't necessarily have to know, not
Right,
just community people, but
right.
your loved ones. And again, it's because of the pressure we put on ourselves. I wonder how much of how much would break off of people if they did just tell the truth. Just put it out there. Just because even though your parents knew, if you were like me, it'd probably still be that you didn't just like be broken before them. You
Hmm.
know, like as in, yes, I'm sure you showed remorse. Yes, but like, did you ever have a moment where you were like, "Oh, mama, can I just talk to you about how I got there?" You know?
No, there was not. There was no moment like that. And when you said, if
Uh-oh, it's
I
glitched.
wish at
Hold on.
that,
Back up a little piece because it glitched for a moment. What did you say?
when you just said, if people could tell the truth, they would be so much more free. And I wish that at that time, I wish I could have I wish I could have just sat me down and said, y'all, this happened. And them just pray for me and to comfort me and to
Mm-hmm.
help me move forward.
And be
Because
restored.
I spiraled some more after that. Because then I was embarrassed. Then I was depressed because I'm like, well, I'm not in school anymore. I'm not in college anymore. I'm nothing now. I don't have anything. Nobody can be proud of me anymore. Um, I was ashamed, just to be home. I didn't want to talk to my friends because I didn't want to know that I was home.
Right.
I wanted to be around my family because I didn't want them to start asking too many questions.
Right.
Then it became even more, well, I gotta do something now to make. And so then I went to cosmetology school because it was like, well, I got to say that I wanted to go do this instead. And it
Mhm.
led to a series of bad choices, a series. Now, was God with me? Hindsight, was God with me every step of the way? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that STD that they told me there's no cure for, God healed me from that then. A
Yes.
relationship. And he healed me from that then. Um, I do believe that God ordered my steps because I remember, I went to cosmetology school. That wasn't really for me, but it was something that I had to do because mama said I had to do something. So I
Mhm.
had to do something.
Mhm.
Then I got a job, it was like at a call center and I met a lady there. She was a veteran. She was an Army veteran. And no big deal then. We just worked together. But I remember watching a commercial. It was for the Air Force. And I called one of my other friends. I said, girl, I'm about to go to Aiken and join the Air Force. You want to ride? And so nobody was home, and I went. I couldn't find the Air Force building. I didn't know it was beside the movie theater. It was by Publix. So I went to the Aiken Mall.
Okay.
And I remember the lady I worked with, I called her. I said, hey, I want to join the military, but I'm not sure if I should join the Marines or the Army. They're side by side, and I don't know. And so she said, can you swim? I said, no. She said, well, go to the Army, girl. And so I went there, and I remember going home and telling my family, I was like, I'm going to the Army. They were like, no, you're not. And I was like, I'm going active duty. And they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. But hindsight, that was God, because that's when the transformation started, because I had to leave. I had to leave all the expectations behind. And so when I went to the military, this was a complete year, a year and a half really after, I had got expelled from college. So went military by myself, went to Fort Leonard Wood. I didn't go with a buddy or anything. You could do the buddy system. And I went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Okay, Missouri. Okay.
So this was my first time on a plane. This was my first time leaving the state alone, and I went there, and that's when the transformation started to happen, because it reminded me of Moses in the Bible, when Abraham, when God told Abraham to leave your father's home, Abraham went. And, I don't know what sparked that to go to the military. I don't know what sparked that, but I went. And that's when I started to shed some things off, and that's when I started to shine, because nobody knew me there. There was nobody from Zion Fair. There was nobody from Silver Bluff. There was nobody, like I told you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you've been blessed by today's show, feel free to let us know. And if you'd like to sow into this ministry, become a sponsor, or contact us, you can reach us at 803-221-0169. Or you can email us at the ssbbshow@gmail.com. Let's continue this journey together. We need and would love to have you as a sponsor. Absolutely no gift is too small. Please note the info regarding giving and help us spread these testimonies around the world.